Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Stock, and in this video we're taking a look at QQQ as it tracks the NASDAQ 100, and I want to look all the way back to 2021, November of 2021. And if you're somebody who's been in the stock market for a while and you've been watching especially the growth plays, the tech plays since then, that's a very infamous day for you. But since that time, we've actually started turning things around and our eyes on the prize and the stock's begun to rise, and we want to see how long that's going to keep going. So that's what I look at in this video. What caused the market to tumble every time that it peaked back up, that it just got smacked right back down? Is that going to happen to us sometime soon? That's exactly what I want to talk about in this video. I'll get to the details in just a moment. Check out this offer from Moomoo. This does expire. The offer that you're looking at does expire today, March the 31st. So if you want your 17 free stocks, today's the day to do it. You have to sign up, deposit your money. You're locked into the free stocks that come along with that deposit. After that time, the link is still active, but I cannot promise that it's going to be the same offer that you'll get as of April 1st. So the April Fool's Day, there should be a brand new offer waiting for you. By depositing $100 or more, you get 7 free stocks, 2 AI draws, which they were running today in the markets. That's a very big return coming to you right off the bat. And then 5 other free stocks valued up to $2,000. For $1,000 or more deposit, you get 17 free stocks, still the 2 AI draws, plus 15 other free stocks valued up to $2,000. Take advantage of that offer. It does expire today. There will be a new offer waiting to go for you as of April 1st. So, one other thing, if you like my commentary and like to hear more of it, check out my Patreon exclusives by using the link down in the description for the Patreon. Click, sign up, join me and my community members over my private Discord that's also available through there. We'd absolutely love to have you. With that said, let's move into this beautiful chart that we have here. So what we're looking at is QQQ. So this does track the NASDAQ 100. And going all the way back here, and bring up the crosshairs. I know it gets a little bit crowded. So this is about November 22nd when we hit that previous peak. I can actually adjust that just a little bit. There we go. So NASDAQ 100. That we're tracking with the Qs. Omicron and inflation rate hiking started becoming the fear, and we're like, oh gosh, and things started to get a little bit shaky on us, a little bit jittery. And then when we came up to December 30th, no Santa Claus rally really showing up for us. That's because there started to be a big rotation of safety, and you see that coming down through. And then we also had the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and then, well, that brought about this that you see in March with rampant inflation concerns coming through from the Fed, and also the sanctions going against Russia. And oh my gosh, food is going to go out of control, energy is going to go out of control, inflation itself is going to go out of control. And just look at this rip that you see coming down through March, April, May, into June. And then we get to June, we start recovering a little bit. And then we get inflation numbers coming out of there, which are super hot. They stumble again, and then we start rallying back up again. And then the Jackson Hole Summit happens, and Jerome Powell came out from that. And he's like, hey guys, listen here, we need to stamp out inflation. There's going to be pain from it. And, you know, some people are just going to have to suffer. And that's a price of stamping out inflation. And then the market sells off again. That's exactly what we get from that. And then we started easing back up again, coming a little bit off that fear. And then we have the SEP coming out on December the 14th for December, and that showed further rate hiking and still an aggressive Fed because inflation just wasn't over yet. And that, again, scared the markets. And then what did that bring us to? Well, down here at the bottom, even though it's not labeled for us, we started to have the hedge funds, the big money go, well, where the heck is the value left? Because we're all in these value plays. There's nowhere to go that's still actually of value. Well, then what happens is we start to get the rotation into growth. And we also, on top of that, we have inflation moderating from October to November to December. Things were looking very good for us. And so we had that run coming up through as we had the rotation back into growth, because that's where the new value was. That's what was left after the big sell-off. And then in February 2nd, that's when we had the FOMC meeting, and Jerome Powell came out and he actually sounded a little bit dovish for us. And, we had a little bit from that. I do have that inflation is back. Really, the January numbers, they came out. Let's find February the 14th. There we go. Valentine's Day. That's actually where we really started to see that sell-off. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see maybe a little bit off that peak. There we go. We actually did run up a little bit off after that, but then PPI came out, also crushed us back down. So what we saw was more inflation. Inflation is back. Oh my gosh. And then we started rallying back up again. And then the bank stuff happened off of that. And that leads us to where we're currently at, which is why I have these question marks in red signaling when is that next fall that we have? What is that next thing that's going to come along, if anything at all, that's going to stop this current rise that we're at right now? Because the inflation numbers just came out today. There we go, for the PCE, and we had 0.3% month over month, whether it was PCE itself or core PCE that was less food and energy. Those were good numbers. Now, we did have savings rate up a little bit. That could be indicating that consumers are starting to slow down their spending. Personal income was up. Discretionary spending was down from January. So we do see a little bit of softness in there. As a matter of fact, I think there's going to be a little bit of questioning from the consumer. So really, I think the question becomes just how strong is that consumer? How much can they continue to spend through this high inflationary time that we have? So even though the rate of inflation might be slowing down, the damage is already done with a lot of that inflation that's already there. So is that something that's going to hold out for us? I think that's the big question. And that's why I think the really big thing that we're going to see, the next thing that we're going to see in the markets that's going to really answer this question right here, is Q1 earnings. And it's something that I've talked about a lot, and we want to hear about the forward guidance coming from the companies as they report their earnings in Q1, because they're going to tell us a lot about what they're seeing from consumer behaviors. And they spend a lot of money and they have a lot of analytics. They know exactly what's going on inside their businesses, and they can give us that outlook. If we get a lot of downward revisions, if we get a soft end to 2023, things that are going to say that there's going to be a big pullback in spending coming from all these companies, those are things that can bring us back down from where we're at right now. Now, I don't want the upward momentum to end. It's been really nice to watch the growth stocks that I'm in actually do well for a change. I've been through the same pain from November of 2021 all the way down through December of 2022. And January felt really good, and February felt really good. And we see a lot of people, a lot of retail investors coming back to the market to enjoy this. So Q1 is drawing to a close. We're getting into Q2, and Q2, it is possible that we continue to see strength in that. Now, some things that I am concerned about, the student loan moratorium, as that draws to an end and people start repaying that, how much are they going to be able to hold out with their savings and with their spending? Are they going to get themselves into a place where they start defaulting? Because if that's the case, that can be very bad for, and that's something that I want to watch out for. And I want to be aware of, because if I'm in on that early, that's something where I can catch the top, which market timing is a difficult thing. And I know that, and I give evidence to that because I took out my position SQQQ. I started building that out back in January, and it's not doing horribly now. It's a triple leveraged ETF, and it's super aggressive, and it's also kind of expensive to stay in for a while. I don't want to stay in it. However, I am looking out for those earnings, and I want to hear what they have to say. And I'm watching inflation to see what's going on with that. And we should start to see more services inflation come down. We saw some softness in it today in the PCE, and we want to see it come through in the CPI and PPI when that comes out for March. Those are things that can allow us to keep on going, that we don't necessarily have to turn around in the next week or two. I put out my newsletter over at the Patreon. That link is down in the description. In that newsletter, I said my sentiment for next week is still bullish. I think that we have some room to run. I think that we can catch up to some of these previous peaks that we had. I think finding that previous peak back to where we're at for the Jackson Hole Summit, for example, that's our next mountain to climb, is getting back to that point. And there's not a lot of red lights in our way getting to that point. So as far as the near term goes, I'm still very bullish in the near term. I am cautious, and that's why I have a short hedge position against my portfolio for in the event that with Q1 earnings, they start foreshadowing more news about recession or economic weakness coming up throughout 2023. If they say that they only see nothing but strength, we rally onward. If they come through and they're kind of cautious, they're kind of worried, and they give us downward revisions because they're trying to hit some easy targets, that might be a time that we see some softness in the markets. So it is possible once we get to that peak, that Jackson Hole peak that I just had up on the screen, that we do bounce off of that a little bit and we do trade sideways for a while the market gains its footing and tries to make sense and get a clear direction for what it is that we're after. So we'll have to see up through about the middle of April. Then when we really start to get the banks reporting earnings, giving us more light, more behind the scenes info on what's going on with the banking sector, to allay any other remaining fears that we might happen to have, see if there's any consolidation coming up, any sort of acquisitions on the horizons for some of the regional banks. We're just going to have to watch and see. Really, we want to start to see easy monetary policy. We want to see money flowing back into the economy that allows more of a risk-on atmosphere for a full-on bull run to take place, in my opinion. So that's what I have to say in this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy my commentary and like to hear more of it, check out that link down in the description for the Patreon. Not only do you get access to my Patreon exclusive content, which this week I have my Tesla earnings preview coming out. I'll be putting that out either today or tomorrow. I have that ready to go, and I have my commentary to put out on that. And then after we get deliveries on Sunday, I'll be updating it with some more factual numbers, deliveries being that factual number, and taking in some regional accounts as well into a more accurate prediction for what we're going to see for Tesla earnings. And that spreadsheet and that commentary are available through the Patreon. You'll get early access there, and I'll come through later on through YouTube with my next report on that as we see it. So also, don't forget about that link for Mootreon. Oh my goodness. Moo and Patreon. Moo down in the description. Click on the link, sign up, get access to your free stocks by doing your deposit $100 or more, the 7 free stocks, $1,000 or more, 17 free stocks. Thank yourself for supporting yourself, and thank you guys for supporting me and my family and what I do here on this channel, bringing opportunities, information to you as I find them in the markets and in finance. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button to see more of my videos and ring that notification bell to be notified anytime that my videos come out. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. We'll see you in the next video.